What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be looking at 2024's GOATed albums, aka best, aka my list. I am not some sort of journalist, obviously, but I am a talker of music on the internet. So if you are watching me for the first time, I would watch this video as if I were your cousin or relative trying to show you some of the best albums from this year. I will not be dissecting every second of each freaking album on here, even though some people like that. I'm just going to be explaining why I think they're pretty goated, pretty awesome, why they are the best of 2024. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Please like and subscribe before we get into this video though. Oh, and click that bell notification. That would help me out a bunch. I never like when YouTubers begin their videos saying to like and subscribe and hit that bell notification because, like, who's really doing that? You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you to tell me what to do? But I'm serious, bro. It takes like 2 seconds. 1 second, actually. Anyways, let's begin. Starting off this list with Manning Fireworks by MJ Lenderman. Oh, also, I'm not going to be ranking these at all. It's just going to be a scrambled bunch of albums. So yeah, sure, I know it's more interesting if I go from 10 to 1 and tell you which one's the best / my favorite, but I'm just going to be talking about music the way I want to talk about it, and that is just rambling. Whatever you want to call it, alternative country, I've heard that being thrown around. I've heard just country, I've heard indie rock, I've heard a lot of it, and it's basically everything like that smushed together. Every time I hear MJ Lenderman speak, I just think of Pavement. Legendary indie rock band from Stockton, California, by the way. And to me, he kind of has one of those voices where it's like you can throw on any instrumental in the background and it's going to sound very interesting and awesome. I don't know if you want to call it like a slacker tone in the singing voice, but that's kind of what I get. Hence the Pavement reference or inspiration, I guess. Where does this album transport me to? It transports me into the middle of the woods with a campfire and just hanging out with the buddies. Nobody has an acoustic guitar, and that's a good thing. But yeah, dude, this shit rips. All right, next album on my goated list is Modern Colors, There Goes the Dream album that released earlier this year. And I remember when this came out, I wasn't a hater of it because at that point I really enjoyed Modern Color. I've seen them a bunch of times, but for some reason, I don't know why I felt like there was something missing within the album. This is one of those albums that did take me some time getting into, and I'm finally into it. And at this point in December, it's one of my favorites of this year. This is Modern Color's summer sounding album. Reminds me of a summer sunset. I believe that the frontman of Modern Color has a very distinct voice, and whenever I hear him sing, I'm like, damn, recognizable. And it's just he can sing his ass off, dude. Like, he really can. And not just sing, but the way Modern Color and their frontman picks out these melodies for each and every song, it sticks, man. It sticks with you. So yeah, I was definitely overthinking it too much whenever I was listening to this. I was like, oh man, this is not what I think it's supposed to be. I'm so confused. I'm a little bit silly about this. But once you start listening to it over and over again, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. You're just surfing, kind of. You're not really surfing, but you're like on some sort of wave, some sound wave. And they want everybody to meet up at one place. So yeah, that's kind of what this album represents in my mind. Most definitely a thumbs up. Okay, next up on my list is Your Own Becoming by Millie. I remember I watched them live in Sacramento, I believe, and this was before this record dropped. And they played a couple songs live that I've never heard before. They said they were unreleased at that point. And when they played them, I was just like, whoa. I'm telling you, man, Millie to me just kind of sounds like that cozy ass blanket that you put on. And maybe it's not for some people, but it's my blanket, you know what I mean? But it should be your blanket too. So I'm going to share. I'm making it sound like they're the most underground band of all time, but literally no. But I'm telling you, man, their tunes are pristine and clean. I love the vocals. They sound so bright. And the instrumentals that they have in the background matches everything perfectly. And for those of you that are wondering what songs they played, I believe it was Los Angeles Filter, because I was listening to that. I was like, yeah, that definitely was the melody that they were singing, and Bittersweet Mary as well. So awesome songs. Also, if you ever get a chance to meet Millie, they're pretty nice. They're some of the nicest people I've ever met that are in bands. So Hell yeah, shout out Millie. All right, next up we got It's Inside You by Candy. Man, when this first came out, my mind was kind of just exploding because there's so much going on within here. Because it's basically kind of like hardcore slash, I guess, computerized hyper pop, kind of. Not hyper pop, but like hyper core, whatever you want to call it. They also have a song called Hypercore on this freaking album. This is one of those albums where I was like, yes, dude, I have so much tension within my brain and I need to kind of release it. And this kind of screamed and yelled and obliterated and melted my face. So I cannot recommend this album enough. It's Inside You by Candy. There's so much to enjoy in here. There's so much going on, like I said a million times at this point, but it's a good type of a lot going on. It's not too much. It's not being too much for the sake of being too much. It has a purpose. Everything's meant with purpose and has a meaning, and I love it, and it's one of my favorite albums of this year. All right, next up we got Prize Horse's album Undersound. Prize Horse was a band that was on one of my predictions of bands to blow up this year in 2024, and they released an amazing album called Undersound. At this point, they've had so many dope opportunities, so many tours, getting their name out there, being awesome. They had an audio tree session which was ridiculous and pristine. Everything about this band is clean as hell, kind of psychedelic type of sound, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really psychedelic, but it's kind of like that. There's some moments in there with the riffs that I'm like, damn, this kind of sounds like a little bit of slowcore. Like if they just slowed it down a little bit, that's such a good ass slowcore riff. But no, man, there's some loud distortion in here, and there's definitely waves of darkness, kind of. I don't think that they've blown up yet, but I know it's gonna come soon, dude. Maybe I'm just a little bit early on them. I believe that they have so much power within them that'll make them just blast off into the stratosphere. You can't even see my finger. Blast off into the stratosphere. Highly recommend a dope ass up and coming band, and hopefully success is forever, you know what I'm saying? So hell yeah. Okay, next up we have You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To by Knocked Loose. Of course they're going to be on this list. They are on everybody's list. Probably one of my favorite songs this year was Blinding Faith. They have so much more than just Blinding Faith, but that initial Blinding Faith followed by a ridiculous riff and everything exploding. Thank you. My goodness. This was perfect. But yeah, dude, everything on here, every song on here felt very powerful and very, once again, meaningful. You can listen to it start to finish, or even the finish to the start, and it won't get boring. I promise you, it will not. But yeah, I don't think I have to say too much about this because a lot has been said. Next up on the list is Emita by Hello Mary. I've told you guys the importance of this band and this channel. You know, the butterfly effect is kind of crazy. And yeah, they dropped a fantastic second album this year. Last year in 2023 was their debut, self-titled. This year they got Emita. Something about this band, man, is kind of special. They're kind of smart as hell, and they make music that makes me feel like I'm getting smarter. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I describe their music. And there's been so many snippets of these songs that they've had in the past that they would put on their Instagram stories, them singing acoustically, and I'm like, dude, when is that dropping? And there's been a bunch of songs that were put on this album, Emita from those days, and I was just mind blown. Thank you very much, cinema. Musical masterpiece. Everything about this felt like a very special warm hug, and that's kind of the way that they are with their melodies, dude. Those two voices combining create something very, very fun and special. 0% was a crazy track, just yelling. Also, I feel like Hello Mary has such underrated riffs. Dude, their fingers just frolicking all up on the guitar is crazy, dude. And I hope everybody listening to this video is listening to this album because it is worth your time. Next up on the list is Febuary, self-titled album. One of my favorites, one of the most goated of this year. Emo, screamo, scrams, whatever you want to call it, man. That's exactly what they are. The emotions are off the charts. The potential within this band is quite unlimited. And dude, the screaming on here is awesome. I've seen some comments, you know, disrespecting this band and saying that like the production is terrible and all this stuff. And I'm just like, are you dumb or something? The raw energy within the production is exactly the feeling that you need whenever you're listening to emo/screamo/scrams, whatever you want to call it. I remember listening to this and I was just like, man, this is awesome, all this stuff. And then I remember that they announced that they were breaking up and I was like, no! But 2024, baby, anything could happen. They came back. February's back. They already played a show, and the community is pretty crazy, man. It's pretty awesome. The fan base that February has been able to create within such a short amount of time, bro. I'm telling you, when the music hits, the music hits. It'll always pull through no matter what. You can call them a TikTok band. You can call them whatever you want, but they are a band here to stay. Big fan of February. Big fan of this self-titled album. And yeah, man, I can't wait for the future, dude. There's so much to look forward to. And hopefully everything's all good with everybody within the band because I know they broke up earlier this year. So hopefully things are all good and we get more music and success and all that shit. All right, next up we got Only One Mode by Speed. Hardcore band from Australia. And shout out Australia, man. Silverchair, one of my all-time favorite bands. I don't care what you have to say. I know a lot of people don't care about Silverchair, but shout out Silverchair in Australia and Speed, of course. And I remember watching an interview of Jem from Speed on Super Heaven's podcast, what's it called? Quit Your Band While You Still Can. And he was just such a funny, bright dude, and everything just screamed positivity. And I don't know, man, it just made me a big fan of the band. And that happens to me a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying I never liked or I hated Speed at some point, because I don't think I ever did. But with some bands, if I don't like them and I watch an interview of them and they're awesome, I'm probably going to turn myself into a fan, man. I don't know what to say. Like, you're a chill dude, so your music is chill with me. And yeah, that wasn't the case for Speed. I kind of always liked the music whenever I heard it. I remember it was blowing up on TikTok because they would play a flute, I believe is the instrument. My bad if that's disrespectful. But yeah, man, the energy within this band is so dope. I don't know, I love the energy that everybody within the band has. It's pretty badass. And yeah, this album, start to finish, in your face. If you told me they're from Australia, I would have been like, you're lying, bro. And why? I don't know. You never really hear about Australian bands, so it's cool to see an Australian band pop off in the States like that. Hell yeah. Now I'm going to talk about Trauma Ray's album, Chameleon. I already made an album review on my channel, so if you want to go check that out, check it out. I pretty much spit all the positive things in the world. And hell yeah, dude, this is one of my favorites from this year. It's so badass. It's so beautiful. It's so everything that you would want from an up-and-coming, I guess they're already here, you know what I'm saying? They're not up-and-coming. They are here to stay. Trauma Ray, a shoegaze band, alternative rock band. Dude, everything about this band just speaks to me. I love this freaking album. I really do. All I'm saying is this Fort Worth, Texas alternative rock / shoegaze band is quite impeccable and quite devious with their tactics and riffs. Next up, My Anti-Aircraft Friend by Julie. Must I explain a lot about this? I don't think so, because I also have an album review on my channel, so go watch that on Dump Toes if you want crazy details. This is one of the best albums of this year, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, they're not doing anything new, they're doing stuff that's been done before. Doesn't matter. Nobody else is killing it like them at the moment, and the way that they use their different influences, so good. The fuzziness is there, the vocals and the melodies are there. There's different singers, so if you don't really want to hear one singer, you got another singer. But in my case, I'm listening to both singers because they're badass. And everything about this band rocks. Kind of like Knock Loose, a lot of people are going to hate on successful bands, and Julie is one of the most successful up-and-coming bands from this generation, at least, that we're witnessing right in front of our eyes. So, hell yeah, dude. Hopefully they get more success and more haters, man, because if you don't have haters, then you're doing something wrong. Finally, the last album that I want to talk about from my favorite / goated albums of 2024, I'm talking about Rationale by Glitterer. I want to say that my feelings for this album definitely skyrocketed after I watched Glitterer live in person and had an chance to interview Ned Russin, but all bias aside, like if I never interviewed Ned Russin, if I never had the chance to do that, I would still say that this Rationale album was top tier. There's a lot of songs on Rationale that capture my mind, but also capture my soul and heart. And that's kind of all you really want at the end of the day. You want to connect to music in some sort of way. And Rationale has so many songs that make me feel emotions and happiness. And there's moments in there where I'm like, oh my God, this is so hype. It's honestly a really good time. And if you get a chance to watch Glitterer live, it's going to bring the house down. I promise you, it's always 100%. Everybody in the band puts their 200% in, actually. Never take a day off. But yeah, of course, having the chance to interview Ned Russin and kind of get his thoughts on the process and everything like that within Rationale was surreal to me as a fan. And yeah, man, there's not much more I could say, honestly. I did make an album review on my channel, but I'm way higher on it now than I am back then, you know what I'm saying? I did like it back then, but at this point in time, I adore Rationale. And yeah, I mean, look at this. I still have this from the show, and I should put it up on my wall at some point soon, but it's just been chilling here. But shout out Rationale, shout out Ned Russin and everybody in the world. But yeah, dude, that's pretty much the end of my goated 2024 albums list. I probably left something out, and I'm gonna regret making this video at this point in time because it's kind of early in this year. It's December 11th, but hey, I'm in a rush because I wanted to make this video. I did. I wanted to make it very fast. Not very fast, but I wanted to make it soon because I knew it was going to be entertaining and fun and awesome to talk about. So, hell yeah, let me know if you have any other goated albums of 2024 in the description. Let me know what's up. And yeah, that's it from me. Like and subscribe. Keep the music alive. Music in 2024 will never die.